Yeah, that's why. So I think that he's the perfect catcher for you because he's not a big cap hit. He's great. He is great defensively. I mean, above average, whatever you want. I think he's great. Some people say he's above average. And he can really kind of keep the team together. I like that. But as an upgrade, yeah, if you were going to trade him, would I be like, oh, no, it's the end of the world? Not really, because you can find defensive catchers. Look at Sandy.
Well, having a good catcher in Major League Baseball is like gold. Like, at this point, they're either good at one thing or the other. Look at Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez is really good at one thing, really bad at the other.
Really bad at the other, and that's
terrible.
Yeah, and it's fine. I mean, you got Sale, who doesn't – I don't think Sale's ever shaken off a pitch in his career. He just throws the ball. Not with us. And that's what you need. You need your catchers to say, you're going to throw it here because I know this guy and I know you better than you know you.
Yeah,
I think there's a value to that.
Sandy's only loose was last year catching Sale. Now it's kind of like the thing in Office Space. It's like, what do you do here?
Now he only catches Porcello, it seems like.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like he only catches Porcello. And I know that, Cora said he doesn't believe in like the personal catcher thing, but it's turned into, oh yeah, it just happens to be Porcello and Sandy every time.
Well,
that's just the day that Christian gets off.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that kind of if you go back to 2016, Leon coming onto the roster, that coincided with Rick Porcello's epic run towards the Cy Young, and he turned it around because his ERA was north of 4 through much of the month of May that year, and Hannigan was up, and that was the same year Swihart just wasn't cutting it. Farrell was afraid he was going to get fired if he kept putting him out there, and then Vasquez kind of found his way back, but Leon became the catcher for Porcello, and I just feel like that's something they're never going to mess with, and that's why I don't think Leon is going anywhere.
They're both not. They're both here for the rest of the year. They're staying.
Yeah,
it's like the David Ross situation, when David Ross was catching John Lester all the time. David Ross was untouchable.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. In different ways for different reasons.
And as we said on a previous show, he nursed Clay Buchholz through that Game 6 against Detroit. Buchholz wasn't even hitting 90 on the gun, I don't feel like. But, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's just interesting to kick around certain trade scenarios, but
who's the guy that you want?
That I want?
Is there a name that just stands out more than anything, catcher wise, that would just knock your socks off if they got?
Besides Posey.
Besides Posey, yeah. Luke Roy sounds reasonable. Yeah, I mean that sounds realistic. So if we're talking realistically,
that's the most realistic one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
JT Realmuto too, I guess.
Okay, that's fantasy.
That would be the one that knocks my socks off.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's fantasy. I mean, he's in Miami. Miami stinks.
Miami just wants your number one prospect is the problem.
That's the problem because Derek Jeter is. I think he's high all the time.
Just
all the time.
I would be too if I was the general manager of that team. Let's be real here.
That's true.
But I mean, I feel like Devers would be in the deal. I don't think your top prospect gets it done, especially where he's a catcher.
What about Wilson Ramos?
That's another name that I was thinking about. It's like, would Tampa do business with us?
Yeah, why not? I mean, they're always looking for some way to shed some cap space, right?
They would take Swihart. Why not? I mean,
they would love Swihart down there. The guy makes no money, can play multiple positions. He's
and then he would destroy us for the next 10 years.
Probably.
It's a
That's how that story is.
I would make that deal. I would make that deal then. I mean, but where's he going to play though? I mean, if Vasquez is our catcher, you can't trade a catcher unless it's for Vasquez though. Because you're trying to get offense. So I mean. Bradley's the guy. I mean, do you trade Bradley then? But then, But
what are you trading Bradley?
Is gone.
What are you going to trade Bradley for, though?
Right.
Hopefully, a bullpen guy.
Well, no.
Is that worth it though? With all our injured, like all the guys that are on the roster just injured.
Well, what if the Mets slip out of it? This would be a ways down because they're obviously still in it. But I mean, I think the dumpster fire is, it's smoking at this point. It hasn't gone full blaze yet, but.
What, with the Mets?
Yeah, with the Mets.
I mean, they're cooking hot dogs in the locker room as of today, so I think they kind of packed it in.
Yeah.
Did they have a 17-2 start too? Somewhere in that
Something like
ballpark?
that, yeah.
It was like 13-2.
Yeah.
They were 9-1 at one point in the first 12 games.
They got blown out by Toronto tonight, 12-1. But the guy I was getting at though is Jay Bruce. I feel like you could stash him out, and I guess he would be more of a left fielder, but
Benny would have to play center.
Yeah, but he came up a center fielder anyway. I think he's comfortable with that. But then where do you put?
He seems comfortable.
Yeah, he was moved from center to left because of JBJ. But where do you put? Because then you got to think JD Martinez, Hanley, and Moreland all have to play. Then you throw in Jay Bruce.
Yeah,
I don't know where we put anybody at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I like JD playing in the outfield personally.
I like him there too. I think he can do it. He's not a complete, useless out there. I think he
seems like, first of all, he seems like the model human being. Like I heard him do the post game interview today. I was like, am I allowed to love him already?
Moreland, though, is going to come back down to earth. He's going to be the 250 guy, a decent OBP guy, but I just feel like, I don't know.
If Corey uses him right, he'll bat 300 this year if he uses him right, which is only putting him in against favorable matchups, righty, lefty, all that fun
what
stuff.
Farrell should have done last year.
Yeah, because if you look at his career time in Texas, the reason he was such a low hitter, not only because the ballpark was good for him, was he played every day because he was the Gold Glove first baseman. So struck out a lot. But if you put him in a ballpark where he's not going to hit the warning track because of an alley like the Red Sox in right field, and he's not going to play against lefties all the time, he's going to hit.
I feel like he should almost play on the road all the time. It seems like he's just bonkers on the road.
Yeah, he likes to. I think he just likes to rise to the occasion because he knows he doesn't get consistent at bats. So he's like, all right, we had travel day. I'm in. I'm ready to go.
Watch this, Alex.
Yeah, pick me, love me, choose me.
All right. Well, I guess what we'll do, we've covered a lot of it. We'll shift into the Baltimore preview and kind of wrap with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Tomorrow, Gausman versus Price. Gausman's actually having a pretty good year. I thought he was kind of overrated, and maybe, who knows what he'll end up being, but he's in the low threes right now for his ERA.
He's having a good year. Last
3 starts have been pretty good, and Price, he's a mystery box. What the hell,
Yeah, we should take 3 out of 4 easy from this team. I don't expect a sweep because like you said, tomorrow Gausman could be lights out. Well, there you go, you lose that one. But this team
is
an
ALE
bad.
Series.
Yeah, exactly. But this Baltimore team is real bad.
Right.
And I just can't even besides Manny Machado and I guess Adam Jones, their team cannot hit the baseball. And Adam Jones can kind of just wake up, especially in Boston. But you look at Chris Davis, 170. You look at Santander, 190.
Trumbo.
Alvarez, 190. Cisco, 227. Greg.
What's Scope hitting? 190, 180?
Scope's hitting 240, but only played 22 games. But he only played 22 games this year.
Gotcha.
Their highest WAR on the team is Machado with 2.6. Everybody else isn't even a 1. They just can't hit the baseball. Manny Machado leads the team in batting average, home runs, RBIs, OBP, and hits.
He's going to wave to Baltimore out the door. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, if you can get past Manny Machado, the team can't hit. Outside of Gausman, the team can't pitch. Cashner's at almost 5 ERA. Bundy's at 4.5.
Well, Cobb's actually kind of reined it in a little. In his last 3, he's got a 3.06 ERA.
Yes. So in his last 3, he's got 3.06. Overall, 7.06.
Right.
But
he had a late start too, though. I think Cobb's pretty good. Whether he's good this series or not.
Yeah, Cobb pitches us pretty well too. I think over his career. Yeah. That might just be me.
Kick.
Yeah, that might just be me thinking of that stupid leg kick. But I thought he did pretty well against us over the years.
The one that drives me nuts. It's like Bronson's, except less worse.
But, I mean, if Price shows up and just doesn't have it, I mean, he's a head case, and that's what it is. I mean, they can say carpal tunnel, they can say whatever they want, but...
Just go 5 innings.
I mean, if he gets...
just go 5 under 3.
If he gets spooked in that first inning and, and then suddenly they're not afraid of him, I could see him not getting out of the third.
He pitched well the last start out. But everybody blew it up like he just lit the world on fire.
Yeah, he was average.
Yeah, he went 6 innings.
Yeah,
That's
against
it.
Toronto in a ballpark that he pitches amazing in.
Yeah. Exactly, and he was lucky to get out of that bases loaded jam because if that goes the wrong way, I mean, he's probably naked in a suicide cell right now, So
yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit of Stephen Wright tomorrow. And by a little bit, I mean 2 innings.
I love Stephen Wright. I hate what he did. It really made me sad. I mean, he was the last guy I ever thought would, have a domestic,
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a big no-no, of course.
Yeah.
I think that's terrible, right? But I believe it was a verbal altercation.
That's what
it was said, which, I mean, is that better? No. But I think it's a little less than what Chapman did. Per se.
Well, Chapman's involved a firearm.
I view Chapman pistol whipping his girlfriend and Stephen Wright screaming at his girlfriend in a little bit different ways.
Yeah, those are
both
different levels.
I don't recommend. Both you shouldn't do. Anyone listening out there that is thinking about any of those things, don't. But
no.
Listen to Dave, everyone.
Yeah. I just think at the end of the day, Stephen Wright got lumped into a worse headline than Chapman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, ever since the Ray Rice thing, I mean,
and that's nothing. Like what Stephen Wright did was awful, and I'm glad he went to counseling. I'm glad he admitted what he did. He came out right away and said, "I never touched her. I need to work on my temper. I need to work on that." I think that really helped his everything, his stock, his persona. And I think he actually did legitimately do that. I don't know if he's got a divorce. I didn't hear anything about it.
No,
so
I think
it sounds like they kind of worked things out, which is good for them because, he's an older guy, so it seems like they've been together for a while. But, yeah, Stephen Wright, not, the best thing when it came to what he did. It was unacceptable. Don't get me wrong. No, I'm not making excuses for him. But as a baseball player, I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah, and I mean, if he can stay healthy, if he doesn't have any shoulder, back, or knee problems, I mean, his fastball is formidable enough to, make his knuckleball that much more effective. And I think he's as good as Wakefield, really. He's not going to have the longevity Wakefield had, but he's an effective guy. He can pitch around base runners and get outs and eat up innings. So
he's nothing like watching a knuckleball dance. When it's on, it is the most beautiful thing in baseball.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
And here's this too. I've ever since he got hurt in spring training, I've been a huge proponent of starting Pomeranz in the bullpen to just save his arm, just keep the innings down because he's going to top out at 170, and which will be well before October. And you just put him in the bullpen, and I just think Wright would be much better in the rotation than Pomeranz. He's going to give you a dud every third or fourth game, but I still feel like in the long run we're better off with Stephen Wright. And he was like the best pitcher for the first 3 months of the 2016 season because Porcello hadn't quite gotten it yet. And Price, in my opinion, wasn't good at all that year. I mean, he had a good 5 or 6 week run during the summer, but he had a terrible start and he faded late and then pooped his pants in game 2. So I just feel like, a lot of people forget how effective he can be, as a starter. And I just think it's a lot more proactive to go that route, but nothing.
Yeah, he was great as a starter in that 2016 season. That
he was an all-star in 2015, wasn't he?
It was. I
think that was the same season, 2016.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So I remember that start at Sunday Night Baseball, complete game against the Yankees.
Right.
That was beautiful.
For some reason, I also remember the start against Baltimore in the rain where he couldn't get